Happy Easter to everybody. I imagine a lot of folks are Eastered out. Y'all are hardcore. I gotta hand it to you. So this man who was born a poor child, a craftsman by trade, who decided there was more, who was called to more, who went out and got the B team, got fishermen, average people, as disciples. And as they traveled with him, they witnessed miracles that he did. They witnessed him giving sight to the blind, making the lame walk, healing the sick, and even raising the dead. He fed the 5,000 and all the traveling. For 3 years they spent time together. For 3 years, nights under the same sky, traveling the roads with this man. For 3 years, they watched him witness. They watched him change the status quo. They watched him turn what was right upside down. And for 3 years, he taught them a new right, a new law, a law of loving God with all that you are and loving your neighbor as yourself. And this new right ended up catching the attention of the people in power, and they didn't like that this Jesus was telling people what was right, because they liked where they were. And if you change the power, it changes their status. They got together and they held a kangaroo court and they convicted this man of blasphemy. And they beat him. And they mocked him. And they crucified him. And in the end, he died on this cross, a criminal's death. And the sky turned black. And the temple curtain tore in two. I imagine for these people who had spent 3 years with this Jesus, these people that had spent 3 years with this man who taught them how to be closer to God, to be right relationship with God. That sudden departure, his sudden death, must have been painful. And not only that, they probably feared for their own lives, because if they would do it to him, then they would likely do it to them as well. So they're experiencing the sorrow of losing not just a teacher, but a friend, and they're experiencing the fear of what might come next. So on that morning of the third day, under the cover of darkness, they set out to see the tomb, to finish the burial rites. In the book of John, it says this: early in the morning of the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone had been taken away from the tomb. She ran to Simon Peter and the other disciple, whom the one Jesus loved, and said, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we don't know where they've put him." Peter and the other disciple left to go to the tomb, and they were running together, but the other disciple ran faster than Peter and was the first to arrive at the tomb. Bending down to take a look, he saw the linen cloths lying there, but he didn't go in. Simon Peter entered the tomb first and saw the linen cloths lying there. He also saw the face cloth that had been on Jesus' head. And it wasn't with the other clothes, but it was folded up in its own place. And then the other disciple, the one who arrived at the tomb first, also went inside. He saw and believed. And they didn't yet understand the scripture that Jesus must rise from the dead, and the disciples returned to the place where they were staying. Mary stood outside near the tomb crying, and as she cried, she bent down to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels dressed in white, seated where the body of Jesus had been, one at the head and one at the foot. And the angels asked her, "Woman, why are you crying?" She replied, "They've taken away my Lord, and I don't know where they've put him." And as soon as she said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she didn't know it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" And thinking he was the gardener, she replied, "Sir, if you've carried him away, tell me where you've put him, and I will get him." And Jesus said to her, "Mary." Now, I want to pause right there, and I want you to think about when someone you love, when someone you've known for so long calls your name, just as Jesus called her name. It's like a snapback to reality. She might not have recognized who he was, but when he called her name, she knew. And at that moment, she turned to him, and in Aramaic, she said, "Rabboni," which means teacher. And he said to her, "Don't hold on to me, for I haven't yet gone up to my Father. Go to my brothers and sisters and tell them, I'm going to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." And she left and announced it to the disciples. "I have seen the Lord." And she told him what he had said to her. Easter is something that we celebrate every year, but sometimes we don't even experience it ourselves. All last week, I knew Easter was coming, and I just didn't feel like it was Easter. I don't know why, I can't explain it, but all the preparation for Easter, and I just couldn't feel it. And this morning, when we got to the sunrise service, is when I felt it. Sometimes Easter sneaks up on us, surprises us. Just like those first visitors to the tomb who go and expect to see one thing and not just see another, but experience another. Experience change, experience hope, experience the resurrection. I want to play you another clip.
Dear Elliot, right now you are 2 months from being born. We just found out that you have trisomy 18, also called Edwards syndrome. Doctors tell us that you won't likely make it to birth. Your mom and I are praying against that. We're praying for healing. We're praying for nothing less than a miracle. You're our first child, and the day of your birth couldn't come sooner. Dear Elliot, you were born today weighing in at 6 pounds. You are already a miracle to us. Your mom is doing well, and it looks like we'll be hanging out here at the hospital a little longer. Dear Elliot, today you turned 11 days old. We are so proud of you. Today we celebrated your 11th birthday. In fact, we do that every day at 4:59, the time you were born. Dear Elliot, we've been home for a week now, so that's why you don't see your nurses anymore. It's great to have you home. Today I think we'll pack up everything and take our first venture out for coffee. Dear Elliot, I don't know if you've noticed, but you're connected to some tubes. The doctor said we have to keep these in so you can get oxygen to breathe. You are also fed through a feeding tube. We feed you every 3 hours and it takes an hour and a half to do it. We've loved learning how to best take care of you. We love it. Lots of people email, call, and send cards on your behalf. You're well loved. It's 11 at night right now and my feeding shift has just begun. Mom is asleep and the best part of my day has begun. My shift ends around 4:45 a.m. when your mom takes over. She cherishes her mornings with her boy. Today you turned 1 month old. I didn't know if I'd ever get to say that. To top off the day, 20 friends showed up at the door for a true surprise birthday party for you. They sang, brought balloons, and a birthday cake. It was beautiful chaos. At 2 a.m. this morning, your feeding tube came out. We had been warned this may happen eventually. We quickly realized we did not have a stethoscope, which was necessary to replace the tube. Since our neighbor was a nurse, I went ahead and knocked on their door at 2:30 a.m. They found their stethoscope and your mom went to it. After much wrestling, praying, and your tears, the tube was down, and you were able to feed. Just so you know, your mom is my hero. Dear Elliot, you now weigh 7 pounds 3 ounces. You're growing and your food has been bumped up because of your good appetite. You continue to find new ways to steal our hearts. Dear Elliot, today marks 2 months of your life. Your mom and I are so thankful we know you. We know your face, your noises. We know that bath time and massage are your favorite daily activity. You finally learned how to suck your thumb by yourself. Because of trisomy 18, you were born with clenched fists, and being able to do this is actually quite difficult. Way to go, son. Dear Elliot, we celebrate your birthday every day with a picture. Lately, we've tried to get a bit more creative. Dear Elliot, I realize you can get frustrated with your tubes and your frequent congestion. Please know that your mom and I are doing everything we can to make you comfortable. Dear Elliot, well, you tipped the scales today at 8 pounds 14 ounces. Quite an accomplishment. You also have managed to grow a pretty decent mullet. Dear Elliot, we all got to go to a reunion at the hospital. I've never seen your mom more happy. The joy she felt getting to show off her son can't be described with words. In fact, she compared it to the way a mother would feel when her son becomes president, or wins a Heisman, or develops a cure for cancer. The logic of medicine says you shouldn't be alive, but you are. You are such a fighter. Dear Elliot, you have now passed the 3-month mark. You also got your first cordless pictures taken today. No feeding tube, oxygen, or stickers. This was no small accomplishment, but we got it done. Have I told you lately that we are so proud of you? Dear Elliot, today you went to be with Jesus. An underdeveloped lung, a heart with a hole in it, and DNA that placed faulty information into each and every cell of your body could not stop God from revealing himself through a child who never uttered a word. Not a pulpit, not a slick presentation, not a best-selling book, but a 6-pound boy with trisomy 18. God found great pleasure to take a lowly thing in the eyes of the world and show truth. At your funeral, we released 99 balloons, each balloon representing a day of your life. How beautiful it was to watch, how quickly they were gone. And so today, we celebrate. Elliot, you are well. And although we miss you more than we can express, we're only separated from you by our time left on earth. See you soon, son, Mom and Dad.
You wouldn't think of that as being an Easter story, but you wouldn't think of the crucifixion leading to a resurrection either. I was able to spend a day with Matt Mooney back in 2012. That's Elliot's dad. And I learned that through the course of Elliot's life, they learned just how difficult it is to care for children with severe special needs. And when Elliot passed on, they started 99 Balloons. And one of the nonprofit organizations that sprang from that is Recess. They found that when Elliot was small, that no one knew how to take care of him. They didn't know of anyone that they could get help from. So they started this organization. And once a month, they reach out to families with children with special needs these people are specially trained, and they take the children for an evening and allow the couple to have some time. Whether that's to go on date night or clean the house or just spend time with each other. Throughout this time, they found that there were no places in Northwest Arkansas that had parks for children with special needs or disabilities. So through 99 Balloons, they helped to organize and helped to orchestrate the collection of funds and the building of a new park that's specifically for children with special needs and allows children, regardless of disability, to play as children. Because of their time with Elliot, they knew what other parents needed. Because of Jesus' time and the pain that Jesus went through, God knows what we go through. God understands betrayal because Jesus was betrayed. God understands forgiveness because Jesus forgave those who rose against him. So what does Easter mean? Aside from an empty tomb. It means new hope, new beginnings. It means the worst thing is not the last thing. It means throughout all the trouble, the sun will rise again. As we go forward from this time, imagine yourself in the shoes of those first disciples. It's hard to do now because times have changed and technology's changed. But imagine seeing the empty tomb for yourself. Let's play the last clip.
This is what they felt like when it happened. And today, it's how we should feel too. Because what it meant for them, it means for us.